Yes. Played at Howard 2011 through 2015, and now I am currently the quarterback coach here.
My name is Brittany Sierra, and I am a HU enthusiast. I went to Hampton University.
My name is Zachary Pegas. I attended Hampton University and I graduated in 2016.
Larry Scott, I'm the head football coach here at Howard University.
So we have to do the genesis, right? So prior to sports becoming entertainment, becoming marketable on ESPN, before ESPN, oftentimes African Americans weren't allowed to go to Nebraska, Michigan, Georgia, LSU, South Carolina. They just weren't. So out of that came the HBCU conferences with the SWAC, Grambling, Southern, and then up this way it was A&T, Howard, Delaware State, all those HBCUs. And during that time, people don't know it if you're not familiar with history, some of the greatest players that you now see in football in the Hall of Fame played during those periods in HBCUs. So they began to recruit after integration / desegregation. And so slowly but surely they began to build that brand.
Man, I think you can go in probably any building from here to all the way down to Virginia, and there's probably not two people that work in there that one represents Howard and one represents Hampton.
Prior to Division I, both institutions were a member of the CIAA, which was Division II, small college. So in 1971, Howard decided to move up in the NCAA to Division I, more money, more exposure, et cetera, et cetera. Hampton Institute decided to stay at the Division II level, CIAA. So because of the lure and attraction of the money exposure in 1995-96, Hampton applied for admission to the MBAC, which Howard was a member.
You got to go back, man, and it's like, obviously, Howard is Howard as far as the reputation. There's a lot of pride involved in the two, in both schools, right? And it's just like, who's the real HU in a sense? But it goes so far back. I know as far back as my coaches and Ted White and Gary Harrell, Flea, all those guys, they kind of talked about the rivalry and the sense of urgency and the build up to this game every year.
I'd say for all of the games in which I do, attend, whether I be at alumni or when I was actually at the school, I always made sure I attended the Howard game. So whether it be them coming to our school or me traveling to DC, it was definitely something that was always marked on the calendars, just because of the camaraderie around it. And again, I think at the end of the day, like Hampton and Howard do see each other as like this unique family.
So when you go to an HU game, one thing I can say, both schools, everybody's fly. Everybody looks good. Everybody smells good. It's a good time. It's like a family reunion. They're like your cousins on your daddy's side. Like you love them, but like, hey girl, and I'm gonna hang out with my real friends.
And in the end, it's gonna be that, that conversation, that chatter back and forth about who's the best in anything, whether that's in law or whether it's in medicine, whether it's on the football field or like you said, the bands, or whether it's in cheer, whatever it is, there's going to be that kind of sibling rivalry between each other. That's going to that banner that goes back and forth, and it's fun because it represents so much more than just whatever that is, right? I think it's healthy, but it's also a driving force between two really good institutions, right? Only one institution, and the other one is a university.
I always tell this story. It all started with a football game between Howard and Hampton over at the old RFK Stadium. Hampton's first year in the conference, the Mid-East Athletic Conference. So there was an event called the Greater Washington Urban League Classic. So in this particular game, Howard had a good team. They pounded Hampton. So after the game, they had officials, the president, athletic directors come down to the field and accept the runner-up and the champ and the winner trophy. It's reported that when Howard and Hampton were on the field, the then president, Dr. Harvey, accepted the runner-up trophy. And he looked at the administration house and said, this will never happen again. And you know what? 15 straight years, Howard never beat them.
I remember my freshman year as an 18-year-old freshman going down to Hampton and breaking that 15-year streak. Yeah, man, it's big. It's bigger than, you know, most rivalries in HBCU.
Who's the real HU? My answer is always Hampton is the better HU.
You know, choosing Hampton was my first real look at this whole HU versus HU thing.
I tell you what, it's you know, all of it's in fun. Sometimes good, healthy fun. Obviously, we support all HBCUs, but at the end of the day, you have Hampton. They want to be referred to as the university. I get it, I understand.
Like, historically, we started off as Hampton Institute. I will be the first one to tell you that. But right now, we're a university.
And we are Howard University, by name, by trade. Our brand is what it is, and I think it speaks volumes to, you know, the excellence that comes with being a part of, being a student, or being an alum, or being any part of Howard.
I always felt that Hampton was better from an academic and sports perspective, even though both are good schools.
I think I'm long past since comparing one institute. I think that all of us, whether it be Grambling, whether it be North Carolina A&T, whether it be Hampton, whether it be Howard, we have a mission. And that mission may fit and suit the personality of a certain population, while the other one does not.
You know, I always felt like there was a light on HBCUs, but it just depends on, you know, the face of it, in a sense, right? We all talk about Deion Sanders now, you know, bringing light back into HBCU athletics, not even just football, but athletics. But after that, you had a group of, you know, big-time NFL Hall of Famers who end up coming back to be head coaches at the HBCU level, you know, and I just feel like that speaks volumes and brings more light to this level of football or school or whatever it may be, and just show the importance of how important it is for people like us to continue to, you know, invest into these HBCUs.